Hi friends, this is CS Neha Challa, and in this video we will be talking about types of endorsements that are given in your Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. So once you finish watching this video, you'll be clear with the whole concept of types of endorsements, and we will be doing it along with examples. All right, so let's start with the types of endorsements. So there are different types. We have blank endorsement, special endorsement, restrictive endorsement, partial endorsement, conditional endorsement, and in conditional endorsements, we have sans recourse, sans phrase, facultative, and contingent. So let's start with the blank endorsement. Okay. So generally, blank endorsement का मतलब है whenever I write or endorse any negotiable instrument, what happens? Suppose A is giving a check to B, and now B is endorsing it to C. Okay, and C wants to endorse it to D. So in normal cases, what happens? In normal cases, what happens is suppose A has given it to B. Now B is giving it to C. So B is going to write C's name over here, and he is going to sign over here. Okay. Now, as you know, C wants to endorse it to D, and later D wants to endorse it to E. Okay. So D requested C that don't endorse on my name. Just leave it blank because later I will have to anyways give it to E. So instead of you writing my name, just leave it blank. You sign it and you endorse it to me. Later, once D gets this bill, he can automatically fill E's name over here. So this is called blank endorsement. So when the person leaves the endorsee's name blank, so then it will be called as blank endorsement. Okay. So let's move to the next one, which is special endorsement. So what happens in special endorsement is like a normal endorsement. So in normal endorsement, what happens, as I already told you, behind the bill, behind the bill, yeah, okay. So generally behind the instrument, whenever you're endorsing, you write all the parties' names, and whoever is endorsing, they will keep signing like B, C, D, E. Okay, he's giving it to C, he's giving it to D, he's giving it to E. So this is called special endorsement. So special endorsement is like a normal endorsement. So that is about special endorsement. Now moving to the next one, which is restrictive endorsement. So in restrictive endorsement, what is happening? A has given an instrument to B. Now B has given it to C. And when C was giving it to D, he did an restrictive endorsement. So this means that now D cannot negotiate this instrument further. He cannot. So that is about restrictive endorsement. Okay. So moving on to partial endorsement. So partial endorsement is not practical, it is not used, it is not valid. But since the concept is there, we are going to study about it. So what is partial endorsement? So in partial endorsement, suppose A has endorsed an instrument to B and B has given the instrument to C. So the amount in the instrument is rupees 1 lakh. Now, whatever C wants to do, he wants to endorse this to D, but he only wants to endorse it for rupees 60,000. Other 40,000 C only wants. So this is not possible. That is the reason partial endorsement is not practical. Obviously, suppose I got a check. I just cannot tear the check and give it to D and just take the half amount, and I cannot go to the bank and ask the other half, right? So that is the reason partial endorsement is not valid. Now moving on to the next one, which is conditional endorsement. So whenever I'm doing any endorsement and in that I'm putting some conditions, then it is called conditional endorsement. For example, A gave a bill to B and B is giving it to C and C is endorsing it to D. But here C is doing a conditional endorsement. So C is telling D that you can only use the check if you send me the goods. So this is called conditional endorsement. Wherever you put conditions, it is a conditional endorsement. So moving ahead to sans recourse. So in sans recourse, what happens? So generally, when A is giving it to B, B is giving it to C, and C is giving it to D. Now D went and he deposited the check and he understood that the check got bounced. So in this case, what happens in general situations is B plus C both will be liable to D. Okay, this is in general cases. But when suppose C has done a sans recourse endorsement, C has done a sans recourse endorsement to D. So in that case, what happens? So in case 2, what happens is, if the check gets bounced, C will not be liable. Only B will be liable. Okay, because here the endorsee declines the further liability. So he's declining. If anything happens in future, I won't be responsible. So that is called sans recourse endorsement. So moving on to the next one, which is sans phrase. So what happens in sans phrase is, suppose A is endorsing it to B, B is endorsing it to C, C is endorsing it to D. Now, when C endorsed it to D, he did a sans phrase endorsement. So suppose the check got bounced. Now, they will obviously file a case on A, right? So when you file a case, you will have to incur a lot of expenses, no? So when you do a sans phrase endorsement, you see is telling that I will not be liable to any further expenses. He is liable to pay principal, but he is not liable for any expenses. So that is called sans phrase endorsement. So moving on to the next one, that is facultative endorsement. So what happens in facultative endorsement is, this is the general case. In general circumstances, I'm telling you. Now again, the check got bounced. So what D has to do, D has to give a notice of dishonor to B and C. Only if he gives a notice, they'll get to know that A has dishonored the check. So D will collect the money from C plus B. So getting a notice is the right of the prior parties. So B and C have a right to get the notice. If they don't get the notice, they will not be liable for the money. So let's say now C has done a facultative endorsement to D. Okay. And C said, I do not need a notice in case of dishonor. So now C is giving up some right, no? Getting a notice is his right. So he's giving it up. So that is called facultative endorsement. Okay. So C is telling, even if you do not give me the notice, I will pay you money. I will be liable. So he's giving up on some rights. So which is called as facultative endorsement. Now moving on to the next one, which is contingent endorsement. So what is happening over here? A gave it to B, B gave it to C. When C was endorsing it to D, he put the conditional endorsements based on a contingent event. So we all studied what is a contingent event in the Indian Contract Act. Contingent event means an event which is dependent on an uncertain future event. Now that future event might happen or it might not happen. Let's say the contract between C and D is that if the future event happens, then C has to pay money to D. Okay. If the future event happens, then C said he will pay money to D. Okay. Now, what is the question over here is, once D get this instrument, he can keep A and B liable, even though the future event did not occur, even if the contingent event did not happen. Before that also, he can make A and B liable. Okay, C will not be liable. C will only be liable when the contingent event happens. But D can enforce it on A plus B before the contingent event happens. So that is called contingent endorsement. So with this, We studied all the types of endorsement, and I hope this video had helped you to clear the concept. So if you liked the video, please comment. If you have any doubts, you can write in the comment section. Please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment how you liked it. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.